Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, to today's stream where I have Red from Chow Time. And we're going to be chopping it up, really just kind of an open forum, talking about the remote lifestyle, passport bros, dating, all of that good stuff. So I know it takes a bit for guys to file in. Feel free to leave any comments, any questions down in the chat, or heck, let us know if you want to come up here and chat. We'll keep this lighthearted, fun, and free flowing. And I'll introduce you to Red. So Red, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings you here? What got you started in the YouTubes? And what do you help guys and gals do?
YouTube, I thought I could do it. I thought I was one of those people, like I can make it in life. No, that's exactly kind of how I thought. Just because I'm a pretty good speaker overall. I usually do speaking for my regular corporate jobs. So I was like, you know what, I'll dabble. But then it was more The Godfather, watching Kevin Samuels, a lot of his streams and a lot of his videos kind of got me into the niche. And I really wanted to do the niche itself of just, kind of empowering men, telling men you're worth something. You just don't have to settle for whatever women kind of just give you. You could do better. And it helped me out tremendously watching The Godfather. So it just kind of made me gravitate towards that niche. And I was like, you know what, I can do it. If I see other people doing it, why can't I do it? And I attempted. But as soon as I started right away, I did 2 videos a day, nonstop, every single day for about a year. And then I moved over to about 4 videos a day, which is what I currently do now.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think it's like that work ethic that I've always had. It made sense with YouTube because I feel there's 2 ways you can go about YouTube, right? There's like quantity and then there's quality. My quality probably isn't the greatest, I would say, but I do pump out a lot of quantity, and people do enjoy binge watching things. So it's kind of helped me grow from there. But no, I came out of divorce. I struggled with just working my regular corporate job. Then I was, trying to find hustles here and there. I've always been a hustler. So I grew up, in LA. So that hustle culture, plus, it just always was instilled into us. Plus work ethic from being Cambodian and helping run the donut shop since I was a kid. Just, gave me a perspective. Oh, you know what? If I can just be a little bit better than somebody else, I feel I can grow in this. And surprisingly, for my first month and a half, I was able to get 1,000 subs. So that's where I was like, oh, okay, I got something. Because I also knew the metrics of YouTuber. It usually takes about a year. Like that's what the average is about a year, 2 years to get your first 1,000 subs. So I was expecting around there, and and we're here now. So.
Yeah, I came out the gate pretty fast, but when I started my channel a few years ago, but then I started talking about topics that YouTube didn't quite like, and it kind of shot me in the foot. So I've recently done a rebrand, cleaned up the entire channel. The algorithms are starting to slowly pick it back up again, but 4 videos a day, that's insane. That is definitely a hustle mindset. I'm actually curious. You mentioned you're Cambodian. Are you first generation or second generation? Are you folks from Cambodia?
Not even. I'm still an immigrant. I was actually born over there. Yeah.
Oh, you
my
were?
brother and sister would be considered first generation because they were born here. But I came here when I was 5 in 92. And we were fortunate. My aunts and uncles came here as refugees in the 80s.
So they've already went through the trials, pretty nasty history there.
Yeah, and then they got donut shops already going. I don't know if you guys, like I said, I mentioned this movie a lot, The Donut King. It's like a PBS documentary type thing.
Oh, really? No,
but it explains the California donut shop system and how 95% of it is owned by Cambodians and how Cambodians came to be in the donut shop industry. So it's all because of one particular guy. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was just in LA, and I'm usually clean 90% plus the time I diet, but I do have a donut vice. And when I was in LA, we ate a lot of donuts. And you're right. Yeah. Most of
it's always a darker complexion Asian.
Yeah. And they're all good. They're all super good. Even if it's like a no-name hole in the wall. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we should make this a donut shop stream. Fun
Yeah,
fact, I've never
I thought
revealed
about
this
it.
to my
I thought
audience
about it.
before. We had I lived in San Diego for almost a decade, and they have the donut shop downtown in Pacific Beach, and I loved it so much that on all my cheat days, which was usually a Sunday, I'd get there, I'd wait in line, I'd get baker's dozen of donuts, split them with my friends, and then I'd check in on Yelp every time I went. So for a while, I was the Duke of the donut shop in San
Oh, nice.
Diego, but since I left a few years ago, my crown has been relinquished, or I've been usurped by someone else.
Usurped. Yeah, it would be usurped, I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that place is so good. Yeah, I love donuts. Damn it! Well, now we're on the donut topic. So I'm curious. Are you still based physically in LA, but you do a lot of the travel to other
Yeah,
countries
I'm
for
based
whatever
in
reasons?
LA.
Yeah.
I just started traveling again. I pushed passport, bro, before I even got my passport back. For a year or so, because my passport expired, and even before then, I didn't travel that much. I was always the happy wife, happy life kind of idiot that
Mhm.
just let my wife go on vacation, because I sent her to Cambodia with my family, with my
Mhm.
sister and my dad and stuff, and then I've sent her to Vietnam quite a few times, but I didn't go myself.
Mhm.
But I've been to Cambodia. I visited Cambodia back myself also. So that was only that one visit. But when I saw Kevin Samuels and I just kind of saw the writing on the wall when it came to Passport Bros, it all made sense right away. I didn't have to
Mhm.
experience it myself to understand, because I grew up in those countries. Like even though it was like from 0 to 5, I still have memories there. And
Mhm.
even when I went back to visit, people are just so much friendlier. It is
Yeah.
like people want to say when you're in a poorer country, people are a little bit more destitute and it's like sad. I feel it's quite the opposite. People are a little bit
I found
less
that too.
busy with that busy lifestyle, and they're just there to survive. And once they're surviving, they're happy. The people are usually
Mhm.
genuinely happy after that. Where we're surviving, thriving, and then we didn't get that latest phone. Oh, the life is horrible.
Yeah. I found that even in countries that aren't necessarily poor. I went to Israel for the first time last summer before all the
Okay.
nonsense kicked off over there, and it was surprising to me. I thought it was gonna be really religious, and I was like, all right, I'll go see all the religious sites, and I'll be respectful, and no partying or anything. That place is like a progressive's paradise. They're
Yeah.
super chill, just like California people. And I asked a couple of people, I was like, how are you guys just so damn happy and chill all the time? And the answer was always like, we're literally under attack by terrorists every single day. We
Ooh.
don't have time. We don't have time to get upset over trivial things like they do in the U.S. The U.S. statues being torn down versus no statues, or right versus left, or
Yeah.
black versus white, or up versus down, or whatever. It's all nonsense in the U.S. But you go to a country that has real problems, like their existence is at threat every single
It's
day.
being threatened.
Just the just the greatest, nicest, salt of the earth people.
Yeah.
And it was really quite refreshing. I live here in Mexico City full time, still travel every now and then. But I've kind of noticed the same thing here. I'm still busy a lot. I work with US and European clients primarily in my corporate or my professional life. But then when I close the laptop and I go downstairs and I'm out in Mexico, it's just a more of a relaxed pace of life. And that's how I
Yeah.
describe it to people. That they hustle here too, but it's not like the US where you're just it used to be you hustle in the US to get ahead. Now it's in the US to where you have to hustle to not get behind. So
Okay.
that's why I left.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll just live the more relaxed pace of life like more Latin type countries do. But I have a US American brain and I'll work with US companies. And that seems to have worked out really well for me.
I think our work culture is quite unique compared to most other countries. The only thing other country I think that outworks us would be Japan, right? Japanese
Mhm.
work culture probably outwork us, but we work those 40 hours, 50, 60-hour weeks, especially us males. It makes it a normal thing over here, where most other countries, like, you're working yourself to death. Like, why would you do
Yep.
that?
Mexico is kind of like that too. I think someone in one of my private groups shared that hours worked per year, Mexico is actually one of the highest. I think hours worked per year, they're more than
Yeah.
Japan. But another disturbing chart right next to that is that they're not as productive as other countries that work less hours. So
Ooh,
I,
that makes
I, I,
sense.
I talk about that with my friends here a lot. It's like, oh, we work so many more hours than Americans, but you guys make more money. And it's like, yeah, but we're more efficient to where I streamline everything, and then I put the right people and processes in place to where I have to build it once and then set it and forget it and on to build the next thing. Whereas people here work really hard, but a lot of times, again, being a corporate consultant by trade, I just look out my window and I see inefficiencies abound, and they don't quite have that.
Well, they
That
see the
culture yet.
success. They don't see the build to success. And it's like, oh, you know, you got to put these
Exactly.
in place to look so easy. Like it looks easy from
Yeah.
this side of things because you're not doing the other things. So,
Or even little things like someone will hit me up, hey, let's go out and get drinks. Like, up, can't, I have a proposal due tomorrow, so I'll be spending my night doing that. Like, oh, just come and get a drink. Like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm not drinking. I have shit to
I
do.
love that. I love
So,
that.
yeah.
No, I just talked about this on one of my videos. How
Uh-huh.
I set a goal for YouTube. I set my goals every month for YouTube, and I didn't hit my goal last month, and I didn't hit my goal the month before. So it was 2 months in
Yeah,
a
so
row.
it
I missed
drives you
my goal.
nuts, right?
So I was upset,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this month if I hit the goal, I'm gonna bear myself a nice little gift. And I didn't hit it, but I was shy by like a smidgen according to people, which I'm not gonna say it's not that it's damn close, but I didn't make the number. So I was
Yeah.
hard on myself. And then I have two best friends. One's Hispanic, one's black. The Hispanic one's like, man, it's okay, dude. Like, I don't understand why you're so upset at yourself. You're already growing at this rate. You're already doing this. You hit so close to that number. Like, just like success is still success, And then I told him, I understand what you're saying. I get the whole what you're kind of doing, but like it's a little bit different. And then I told my other friend, and he was like, nah, dude, you fucked up. Like you didn't hit the goal.
Yep.
What's there to say? And there's nothing to talk about in a sense, other than better look next time, or you need to readjust. Yep. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't see in goals is if you didn't hit it, it's not the end of the world, but that means you fucked up somewhere. You have to readjust somewhere. And people don't have that mindset. They just, oh, I messed up and I'm a failure. No. I mean, in a sense, you failed. You're not a failure. You just failed that particular goal. But now look at the next month and readjust where you need to readjust. Either you need to pump out more or do a little bit less here or whatever it is. You don't know. You still have to reach that formula. So I agree with you. Like that work. I guess us older generation. How old are you?
I'm 37, so I'm a millennial.
Okay, we're the same age. We're the exact same age then. Yeah. So us that grew up a little bit in the more older generation, we understand what work is. But I feel a lot of the younger generation, like my brother, my sister, I see it in them, and they are true Americans. Like they are first generation. They had it a lot easier when growing up than I did, and they don't want to accomplish anywhere close to what I want to do, or they just don't even have a goal to want to do much. They're like, I'm happy working at Walmart or whatever it is. And I feel disappointed by that.
Yeah. And talking about goal stuff. So I do this too. I set very aggressive goals. So even if I don't reach them, I'm still way better off than I was.
Correct.
But what's even worse is if you set at the time what I believe to be an aggressive goal and I achieve it very easily. So then I need to update the goal. And for me in my head, I have, for example, financial goals. So I had a pretty lean run financially the last 6 months or so. That's quickly starting to turn around, and I'll be good here very shortly. That's why I'm kind of in a mini monk mode, because I have financial reserves, I have income targets, I have investment targets, to where if I don't hit them, like the new target is not the goal. I've already done that consistently. So the new target is baseline. That's 0.
Correct.
So it's aggressive to other people, but if I don't hit it, then I'm in the negative mentally, and I just can't sleep.
I feel exact same way. Yeah, I'll date women and they see my I'll set up goals and stuff, and they see me like not reach. I'm like, it's okay, and I was just like, no, it is not okay. Like I understand the not being hard on yourself, but I just think people are just too easy on themselves. Mm-hmm. It's easy to make that excuse. I wasn't feeling well. It's easy to make that excuse. Oh, it's raining outside. It's so easy to make.
I feel like crap today. And of course I have like 8 hours of calls back to back with the sore throat and I'm all stuffed up. Like, of course, today's the day. Yeah. It's not tomorrow. I'll be fine tomorrow. I have no calls tomorrow, but a lot of admin type work. Yep. Analytical work. Oh, that's
But the
yeah, that's
show must
super
go
funny.
on. Like, one of my voice was
Mhm,
messed up and I was making videos and people were like, "Oh, man, rest, keep your voice," like, I'm like, "Do you not understand that since I've started till now, I have not missed my 2 videos, now 4 videos a day ever." Like, since
mhm.
I started the 4 videos in January. So from January till now, even when I went on vacation for 10 days, I still had 4 videos pumping out every 4 day I mean, every day. There's a
Mhm,
method to the madness. I guess people don't understand why that consistency is there. I see myself as, like, almost a network TV where a show comes out at 5
mhm.
o'clock. If that show didn't come out at 5 o'clock, wouldn't you be disappointed?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
everybody would be disappointed. And then after it happens a few more times, now the show's unreliable. Then that's how
Mhm.
I feel about it.
It's
Once
not a
it's
show
happened,
anymore.
yeah, now you become unreliable, and I don't wanna be unreliable to my own audience or just my own business in a sense. So,
I'm gonna take that in consideration for my channel. Have a little more consistent. So I like the live streams because I love just free flowing, open conversations. It's a lot easier for me to just get on a stream for an hour than it is
of
for me to
course,
storyboard a video and then get it going. And the clips are always better. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, all right, I need to expand the reach. So just get clip opportunities for social reach there. But yeah, maybe eventually I'll have to start going over to a model, kind of like you have there.
I mean, for me, I'm a machine. When I'm in front of my desk and I'm pumping out videos, I'm editing, nothing distracts me. That's I guess that's the big difference
You're in the
between me and
zone.
a lot
Yeah,
of other
you're in a
people.
flow state.
Yeah, no, I have to get this done. Sometimes I'm like, "Okay, I gotta do 8 videos today." Why? Because I fucked up the other day. I messed up, so I had to adjust 2 videos there, and then this, okay, 8 videos today. It's not like I'm like, "Oh, it'd be nice to do." No, we're 8 videos today. So I'll take a
Uh-huh.
mid break after 4 videos and then, relax for about an hour, grab some lunch, and then come back and do the other 4 videos. It Once I set that goal of the day, it has to be done. And if you
Yeah.
don't get it done, you should be harsh on yourself. Because why did you set a stupid goal that you couldn't reach? Because if it's easily attainable, obtain it. That's life, guys. Like, there's so many little things that you just have to work a little bit harder or adjust a little bit. And you can reach the smaller goals right away. And people just don't realize add up. They add up quite quickly.
I like how you mentioned smaller goals. So I'll set very aggressive, overarching, longer term goals, but I'll have checkpoints along the way. So
Correct.
they're progressive micro goals, and that way you build momentum too. Or I'll do stuff to where I'm not doing 4 videos a day, but for example, it's kind of the mentality I take with my fitness stuff. People will see me like, "Oh, you're drinking and eating pizza and donuts. How do you stay so fit?" It's like, yeah, but I knew 2 weeks ago I was going to come out and have today, so I had more of a deficit to lead up to that point to
Mhm.
make sure that I break even at the end of this binge weekend. And I'll do that with work too. I have some travel coming up midsummer, and then at the very end of the summer, I asked one of my corporate clients today, like, hey, for this client, I have to go to the UK for a week. It's like, hey, since I'm already over here, I want to take like a week or two before or after the trip just to backpack around Europe a bit. Is this okay? And then we put together a plan that, okay, there will be no work interruption in September because I'm doing the things now to get me ahead of the curve. So there will be days like I just don't feel like working today. I'll go out and people are like, oh, it must be nice. You're lucky. Is like, but what you don't see is that I'm always ahead of the goal too.
Correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
But people don't realize that I'm like ahead 4 days on my videos.
Yep.
I'm always ahead. I can't It feels disgusting to be even behind because when I came back from vacation because of my throat and everything, I was actually behind. I was only at 1 day ahead. And it's
Mhm.
frustrating because YouTube is YouTube. There'll be videos I do, it gets, flagged or whatever. So it takes a couple days to handle that. So that's why it kind of forces me to learn from doing it for so long. No, I gotta kind of have the 4 days in advance or so because YouTube will play around with the videos or do whatever they want to do with
Mhm.
it. So I have to readjust. I'll be able to readjust videos once I have enough bank. It's okay, and I can still be current on current topics because I'll just release what needs to be released right away, just push all the other videos back. So it just
Mhm.
gave me a little bit more flexibility. And people are wondering, like, oh, like my best friend was like, dude, you made money while you were out. Well, yeah, but I also freaking for the 20 days ahead. I had to do 6
Mhm.
videos a day consistently to bank so many videos so I can go for those 10 days and do all these things. It's like like I said earlier, like the people see the success side, but they don't see the struggle
Mhm.
side. And it's, of course, they're not going to see the struggle side of things. But I also don't think people care. They don't
No,
care
they
to
don't.
hear about the struggle. They just want to see, oh, you did it, and see that you made it. And even when you tell them there's a struggle side, they're like, no, but you made it look so easy. It made it look so easy because you only saw
Mhm.
the easy side, the success side. You didn't see me dwindling in the room for 12-hour days, 7-10 days a week, straight, just going at it. No, you didn't see that. You just saw the me going out to eat with you tonight because we're going out to eat together, and you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's free. He does whatever he wants. No.
I get that too a lot. For example, if let's say it's 8 p.m., that's usually kind of, I'm always connected from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. available during the day for any professional stuff, creative stuff, what have you. Then at 8 p.m. I start to mentally unwind a bit, and that's usually when girls will come over and they'll ask me, "Oh, what were you doing before I showed up?" Like, "Oh, I was working." Like, "Oh, you're working this late?" It's like, yeah. If I'm not doing anything, then I'm just working. Like, I don't. Now, I always have YouTube on in the background, but I don't watch TV. I don't watch series. I don't watch
No, same.
movies. I'm educating myself. I'm watching 3-hour Stanford lectures. I'm like, oh, this stuff that you had to pay for back in the day, it's all free now. But
Yes.
or people like the corporate clients I have, like, hey, they know that I go to the gym at some point during the day. I'm not going to miss any calls. I'm not going to miss any deadlines, but at some time during the day, I'm going to take at least an hour, maybe 2 hours off. I'm going to go to the gym. But in my head, that's not going to the gym. That's working because I am less efficient if I'm not in good shape. I am
Yeah.
less efficient if I don't do the things I need to do throughout the day. So I get the attitude a lot, oh, you're lucky, or it might be nice. And I've had friends say that. I have quite an active social life too, to where when I go out, people are like, you're always just having a good time and you're always partying. I was like, you only see me in 1% of my life though. And I'm
Exactly.
looking forward to this too. Like I'm going all out, but you don't see me the other 99% of the time where it's just me, myself, and I alone in the house on the laptop, listening
Yeah,
to
my hard
podcasts and
ass
just
self, on my
clicking
hard
away on
ass
the,
self, telling my hard ass
yeah.
self, fucking keep working.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh
And
no, but it's just like because that's what they're looking for. I think it's what a lot of people want is that easy life. They think, oh,
mhm.
he gets to do all these things. He doesn't seem like he's working that hard. He's not struggling. Like that's the kind of life I want. And I was
You
like,
always start struggling though, and then after you do the hard work, life gets easier. So,
yes,
for example, like I think I have a cold right now. It's annoying, but I don't feel sick. It's not going to ruin my day, but I'm in fantastic shape. I optimize all of my health markers. So things that might ruin someone's week, for me it's like, oh, I'm annoyed.
yeah,
But like you said, the show must go on. You still move forward, and it's really nice doing that. Or I mentioned for a few months I was kind of lean financially. Well, I set tiered financial targets, kind of like the Titanic, how they had the different chambers that water could
yeah,
spill into before it sunk. I structured my financial life that way. So of the 5 safeguards, I think I dipped into safeguard maybe 2 or 3, and then I'm replenishing those right now. But it makes life easier because tragic things happen, and I know that I'm not going to sink, which is really nice. It's comforting. It sucks. You're stressed out in the moment, but I know that I'm never not going to have a roof over my head. I'm never not going to have anything to eat. I'm never going to have any debilitating injuries unless there's a freak of nature, like like an asteroid hits and the city blows up. Well,
yeah,
I can't really do much in that situation. But you can structure your life in a way to where, yeah, it's hard at first to break out of complacency. But as I mentioned earlier, you update your baseline to where, for me, my zero financially is a lot of people's financial dream. But for me, if
yeah.
I come under that, it's like, hey, there's no going out. I haven't gone out in a month and a half, and I won't go out for another 2 months because I need to get back to baseline.
I mean, after my divorce, all I ate was rice, eggs, and soy sauce. Probably for I want to say 3 years straight. I didn't really deviate from that much. Maybe I went out to eat every so often with my friend, maybe, and it was a cheap meal, but I mostly just ate that. Why? I had financial goals I wanted to set. Now I eat what people probably say pretty little extravagant, but I also suffered for the 3 years to just eat rice and eggs. And I didn't complain about it either. I actually enjoy rice and eggs. So it's like not that big of a problem for me.
I eat the same thing every day too. It's
Yeah.
different variation. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So it's like,
it's the
oh,
same
okay. It's
five
not too bad.
ingredients. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, again, they don't see the sacrifice that you do behind the scenes to get you to looking so good, to be so, oh, he's, he, he looks like he's doing well. Yeah, because I struggled. I struggled
Yeah.
to get here.
And the thing is, you're always going to have struggles, but when you don't have the discipline or the work ethic, the struggles are a lot worse.
I
Whereas when
agree.
you have, and you get momentum going too. So I have a solid framework that I've built over the years. And again, I'm always upgrading that. So I'll hit a new goal set, and then, sometimes I'll enjoy the novelty a bit. I'll celebrate a bit. But then mentally I come back to, okay, this new target I achieved, it's now the new zero. So
Mm,
like I'm literally waking up today as if I've done nothing. Like, now what do I need to do to get to the next level?
that's exactly how I view YouTube. Every time I hit a goal set, or if I slightly missed that goal set, I'm like, well, this better be the new baseline of how many views I'm getting, and certain things like that. And it's made me quite successful so far. I've been doing YouTube for how many months now? A year and like 10 months now.
Mhm.
And I've grown significantly, but it was also that work ethic. I felt like that kind of got there because people know my videos are going to release at a certain time every day, and people get used to it. I even get comments about how consistent I am about it. And I was like, I feel like, yeah, I'm a news station or a TV network where
Mhm.
the show comes out every Friday this time, no matter what. You don't ever see that ever deviate unless some catastrophic thing happens. And even then, the show's coming out still. And that's where
Mhm.
I was like, I need to be in that mentality where, yeah, show if everybody's so consistently watching me, everybody already sets a precedence for you as like a content creator. Oh, he makes 2 videos a day. Well, fuck, he makes 2 videos a day. Let's see. Let's People even like when I want to push, like, oh, see how long he's gonna do this 2 videos a day thing, and then they
Mhm.
see you up it to 4 videos a day. I'm like, well, oh, okay. That means he's doing well or something's going on, and they're watching me and they're watching the 4 videos a day, and they're like, well, I love it. I love binge watching,
Mhm.
and then like I get the comments all the time, dude, 4 videos a day throughout. Literally, I eat breakfast, I watch you, I go out to work, I go work out, and then I get to watch
Yep.
you, and then I go have lunch or do like a mid thing, and then I get to watch you, and then I have dinner, and then after I finish dinner I get to watch you again. It's just like it's made it convenient for people to just, oh, I want to tune into something, oh, he's always there to tune into. So I don't know, it was just
Yeah. From the consumer side, I'm the same way. When I start my days pretty early, and then I have certain content creators I watch. If you go to my YouTube search history, it's the same 4 or 5 suggestions, and then I know consistently this is the guy I get the news from. This is the guy I get my fitness advice from. This is the guy, I cover like Passport Bro, living abroad, Mexico topics.
yeah.
These are the guys I get my information from. And it's nice when guys reach out to you like, hey, Jaron, you're my go-to guy for these topics. My channel is not that big, or it's funny, girls will come over and they'll ask me, oh my God, are you an influencer? It's like, no, not at all. But I'm influential over other influencers. So like guys in my
Yeah,
inner circle are guys that have millions of subs. You'll probably never see me on their channel, but I watch, I support my friends.
of
So
course.
so I'll watch their content. I'm like, that idea came from my brain. That was not
Yeah.
an original thought from you. So that's what I tell people. Like, I'm not influential, but I influence people who are influential, which
I think
that's
that
not a
is the
bad place to
most
be.
influence,
Uh-huh.
right? It's when you influence the people that actually do the influencing themselves. How I talk about, when we listen to self improvement type things, it's like the more people you can bring up and the more influence they got, technically, you have their influence, because if you ever so choose, you can always call in favors. And that's the great thing
Mhm.
about pulling people up. It's very tough for them to deny you a favor. Not in a sense you're doing it purposely for that
Mhm.
reason. It's also nice to have to not be alone up in, your pedestal of success. I always tell the people this too, it's lonely at the top. And unless you surround yourself with people that are winning just like you're you're gonna either be supporting people because you're not gonna be able to do the things you want to do, or you go find some friends and you build or you help build your friends up to where they can also eat the same way you eat. And
Mhm.
I live by it. I do it with my friends. Like even my YouTube now, I'm trying to bring my brother into it somehow, in some way. I'm like, man, he needs to learn how to edit or something. Like, so how can I make it so he doesn't just get money from me? He has to earn a salary from me still, but
Mhm.
I can still write it off as I'm paying an employee kind of thing. Even though, it's just, I don't know, as a big brother and someone that's so family oriented, I always think about how do I make it bigger for my family. I guess
Mhm.
a lot of younger people don't see it that it's a lot more individualistic nowadays, I feel like. And people probably, I think, have that sense of family is kind of gone, right? Where the people used to fall
Yeah.
back on their family all the time, and it wasn't a problem. Now it's seen as weak and in some way a bad thing. But I was like, there's family for a reason. Not all family is good, I
Mhm.
admit. There's some bad ones, but
Oh, I'm
most
from a good
of the
one. Thank God. I'm
time,
grateful
yeah.
for that every day. Everyone in
No,
my family is
same.
awesome. Yeah.
Like my work ethic that I've grown up with, everybody saw it as harsh. I saw it as harsh because everybody told me it was harsh. But did I
Mhm.
feel it was harsh? I felt it was fair. You know, my dad was quite fair when it came to a lot of these things growing up. But everybody was like, "Oh, you have to work. Oh, you have to do this." Like that sucks. But I saw them, and they didn't have to do anything. So it also made me feel a way about it too when I was growing up. So
Mhm.
that resentment built up, and I was just like, "Oh man." But then college hit, workforce hit, and my work ethic compared to everybody else, I was just like, I just look at everybody, it's like, you guys are fucking trash.
Yeah.
This is your guys' work ethic? Like, what the like I've worked 20-hour days, 7 days a week, like 3 years straight. Like, this is you guys are complaining about this extra 30 minutes you have to stay because you need to get this job done. I guess it made me realize I was fortunate, right?
Mhm.
Not everybody got instilled with that particular work ethic, and you can't it's hard to build that work ethic if you're not raised into it when you're an adult. It is very hard. I see people struggle with it all the time, even though they want to, they're trying to build it, they're just not built for it in a sense.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to holding yourself to a higher standard. So I remember, for example, when I was a kid, I always did well academically, but for me, to be honest, I didn't really try that hard. It was just I remember when I had classmates, even in like primary school, that say, "Oh, I get X amount of dollars per A," and in my family, like we never got punished if you didn't get perfect grades, but you never didn't get perfect grades. It's just what you did.
Yeah.
It's just expected. Like if you have to go to school legally every single day until you're what 18 years old, until you
Yeah.
graduate. So like I'm already here. Why would I not be a top performer? It just like otherwise I'm just wasting my time. I never. I'm at a loss for words now because it still doesn't make sense. Even 20 years after, almost 20 years since I've graduated high school, it's just nonsensical to me to why you would not be optimal in everything and just put out the best quality or best version of yourself and everything. Other things like I'll have people ask me like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be fit like you. It must be really hard." And I had this thought getting in the shower up for this stream. It was that if I wanted to gain 100 pounds of body fat, it would be so much harder to do that than it was to lose it. Like I would have to completely retrain my body, constant disregard, headaches, sleepless nights, health issues, high blood pressure, being short of breath. I would have to power through that and keep forcing things to get progressively worse. Whereas now everything's optimized. It doesn't take me that long. I spend 20 to
Yes.
40 minutes in the gym every day. I do one meal a day. It's 20 minutes to make a meal. I wolf it down real quick. It's like the same 5 ingredients for everything. And then it's done. I spend very little time thinking about health and fitness. It's just built into my life. That's just the expectation. It's kind of like, as I mentioned, going back to that baseline. For me, it's unacceptable to be broke. It's unacceptable to be fat, and it's unacceptable to not be exceptional. So, whereas other people see it like, wow, it must be Well, what they do is they say, "Oh, it must be nice." Like, "Oh, it's
Mm.
genetics," or "You're born lucky." It's like, no, you have the same genetics I do. Look at your granddad in a World War II uniform. He wasn't 100 pounds overweight, so you're lying. Don't like cut that shit out. Upgrade that mental process. But people feed themselves the dumbest excuses. And for me, like even again as a kid, going back to the academia thing, it would be harder for me just to spend all day in class and do nothing. Like I would have had to force myself to fail a class. It's just like, well, I'm already here and the teacher just gave us the assignment and there's an hour left in class. I'll just do it right now and then it's done.
I love it. Same. I always did homework in school because why waste my life at home when I can just do this right now? It made more sense.
And we didn't have cell phones when we were growing up.
I think. No, we didn't.
I mean, we had the old flip phones. I got a cell phone when I was 12 because I'd umpire baseball like around other cities, and I needed to be on call or whatever. And all my friends, so this was like what 1999. They're like, "Oh my god, you have a cell phone!" I was the only kid in my middle school with a cell phone. But I was working and like, "Oh my god, you have a job," and it paid pretty well. It paid like $50 per game, and I do double headers every single night during the week. And as a 12-year-old,
$100 a freaking night.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was making $700 a week at 12 years old. There's been times in my adult life where I've made less than. I'm like, oh my god, I was smarter when I was a kid than I am now. Like, figure it out.
No, I 100% agree. People make because the saying, if they could, they would, right? Or whatever the saying is, right? It's true, because if people truly wanted these things, they would work towards it. People wanted a nice body, you would go to the gym. But you don't want those things. You really want to be able to just live your lifestyle
they lie to themselves.
The way it is. Yeah. And enjoy the benefits, the sacrifice that someone else did. And I think this is where, when it comes into like my content, is I think that's where women always seen men just kind of effortlessly do their thing and not complain, and I'm like, oh, it must be easy. and then they get into the workforce themselves, and now they're like, why don't they ever complain? And this is miserable. And you see that soft girl era growing up or going out right now, and it's just, but it makes sense to me. It made sense. Once you actually go out there and work a corporate job or work for a corporate entity, you learn really quickly. You don't really want to do this for the rest of your life.
No.
Which I assume people learn very quickly, but then there's still women that rail against it. But as men, even men look at it and it's just like, I don't even want to do this. But if I don't do this, I have nothing, or I am nothing.
Mm-hmm. You get that mentality of, and I love this movie, Office Space. Like, someone has a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
Or like, you see the memes all the time. The way the week starts out, Monday slow, and the weekend they cruise into it, and then Monday, like, oh, Mondays. For me, like every day is pretty much the same. Okay, same. Monday through Friday is when I have all my calls with corporate people. The weekends there's no calls, but I'm still working every single day. So like, I woke up today and felt like it was a Friday. And so I was telling people, oh, have a good weekend. Oh, any plans for the weekend? Like, dude, it's Thursday. I'm like, yeah, but for me, like, there's not really such thing as a weekend. It's just whatever calendar day pops up on my calendar. I mean, all of my days look exactly the same. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, no phone calls.
It's like weekends. I'm the least busiest that day.
Yeah, right. And and I think it goes back to that mindset thing. And we can transition a bit into the dating topic, but it's kind of like that with dating too. First, people will see my success and they'll think it's incredulous. So like, oh, he must be cheating, or he must be paying for it. He must be doing whatever. It's like, no, not at all. I built a system. I've reiterated it many times over the years and reduced all of the inefficiencies and streamlined the processes to where, again, I spend very little time thinking about dating or sourcing for dating or setting up dates, but they just come and fill in the blocks that I've set up in my schedule. It's all systematic, it's all structured, and it's all intentional. People never see that side of things. They're like, oh, it must be nice. I was like, yeah, it is nice. It's very nice. And I did that intentionally. That's why it's nice. And you can do it too. And I'll show you how to do it. And then you get people like, oh, BS. No. I was like, well, you're seeing me do it in front of you. And Like it took me years to figure it out. I'll just give you the answer and you're not interested. Just be honest. You're not interested.
No, they're not interested in doing the work that requires to see where they are with you. You know, that's
Or
where
paying
I
me to
would
do
say
the
it.
work. I've already done it. I'll do it for you,
No,
but
they
it's going to
still have to
cost
pay.
you.
They have to improve
Yeah,
themselves a
yeah.
little bit. There's no way they can just go out there and use the system and just be as is it?
Sorry, you actually cut out for a second. I think my
Okay.
my AirPods
Would
have
they
a
be able to
sync
just use
issue.
your system as is with no self-improvement at all?
No, so
Yeah.
I do like simple scalable frameworks
Okay,
or flexible
so then
frameworks.
that's where I'm
So
saying that those
yeah,
little self-improvement things is what they don't want to
yep.
do. They just want the success of women. They just want all these things. Like even with me, I date. I'm pretty prevalent in the dating market. I don't try to date too much, just because
Mhm.
it gets messy out here. I get why you're dating out there, all right? So,
Oh,
but where I'm at,
they're just coming on through.
yeah,
It's
over
so
here,
nice. Yep.
it's like a scale. I don't do I want to deal with
Mhm.
this right now or what?
When I go
Like
to the
like
U.S., it's the same thing.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
do
It's
I
like, oh,
really
so
want to put time and effort into
it's
this?
like,
Because I'm not going to
how
get that
much
good of a
am I gonna
return.
enjoy this out of how much it's gonna cost me in labor, time, and almost everything else? That's where I, I'm very misery with my money. That's how I
Mhm.
always almost weigh almost everything is how much time and effort does it require me to take care of this? And how much
Mhm.
money would that time and effort require me to actually do it? You know, I, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it makes me like selfish or greedy in a sense, but it makes it so everything has a formula to it. If it doesn't
Mhm.
make sense number wise, why would I do that? You know, the only time it doesn't make sense in my budget is eating. I have a special
Mhm.
budget for eating. You know,
Me
but other
too.
than that,
And I
my
eat
budget
good
is
food.
empty. I don't spend on anything else.
Yep. Yeah, my budget's really rent, Ubers, and food. That's
Yeah,
really it. And I give myself a good food budget. I always eat the highest quality organic, whatever I can find, whatever that budget looks like. But that's an investment myself. That's a long-term
correct.
investment because when I'm 80, I'm not going to have osteoporosis. I'll decline with age, obviously, but I'm looking to really extend that runway by
I
doing the
mean,
things now that
for
need to be done.
being white, you look damn good for your age. Me and you are the same age. We're both 37 right
Yeah.
now, and we look quite
Mhm.
similar in age. We look in our
It's
maybe late 20s or
It's
so,
funny
maybe
because
early
as
30s.
white people, our skin ages terribly. So when I go to the dermatologist, I get hydrofacials, I get the platelet whatever treatment, and the dermatologist
I
here,
just started that recently.
oh, it's so nice. The
Yeah, it is nice.
dermatologist here always makes comments. He's like, he's like, yeah, what white people? He's like, you guys have contributed a lot to the world. It's like, but God, your skin is so terrible to work on. I'm like, that's why I'm here. Take my money. What treatment do you recommend?
You know, uh, it's funny. People are like, oh, why do you spend so much money? Why wouldn't you take care of yourself? Like,
Mhm,
aren't these like, what is the point of making money? Is it just to enjoy like your sins and whatever it is, or is it for your life improvement and
mhm.
taking care of your skin, taking care of your face, taking care of your body, making sure you eat maybe higher quality type meals? It makes sense to me, at least, as an overarching thing, but I guess people see it as a detriment to themselves.
Oh, I recently got a mini lipo done, and they say mini lipo if it's less than 3 liters, it's technically a mini lipo, and that's because I was overweight for years as a kid. I lost the weight 20 years ago, and I've been fit since. But I still have some loose skin. It's come in over the years. There's new considerations, but you can't get all of it. And I didn't want to do
I
an
mean, you're older too.
abdominoplasty. Yeah, exactly. Start to lose some collagen, which I supplement in collagen, and but I know it's like where my love handles used to be. It was like a deflated balloon. So
Yeah.
I'm 6-pack abs year round. Everything's nice and toned and defined, but just that loose skin just kind of hanging over the side of the pants. That drove me nuts. So I told my buddies here, I was like, you know what? My birthday was a few weeks ago. Like, I'm just going to go get it taken care of. There's a flash promotion with like the top surgeon in Mexico here. He lives like 4 blocks down. Screw it. I'm just going to go in. Day of my birthday, I was under general anesthesia, and they were trying to find fat and then to refill because it was like where the love handles was. I had them inject whatever fat they could find like in my upper glutes to like kind of start to pull the skin down. And then when I get back in the gym, I'll build my back out a bit and that'll tighten out the rest. But there's a whole plan with multiple tiered therapies. And like I worked with the surgeon, we have it together. And when I told friends down here, and maybe some of you guys watching, guys like, dude, like, what are you talking about? You're fine. You're absolutely perfect. Like, look, I go to these like rooftop pool party events. And when I take my shirt off, everyone's like, dude, like you're fine. And I constantly have to tell people, I don't compare myself to average people. They don't exist to me. Yeah. I compare myself to exceptional people. And for me to be like, I'm always like going back to the baseline thing. I'm always looking to get to the next level. I know I watched like a Tom Brady documentary years ago. It was on like ESPN 6 for 6 or something. And in the offseason, he's like, okay, you're better than 99.9% of quarterbacks, but he wants to be better than 99.99% of quarterbacks. It's those little details in the offseason. He's always training, always doing new stuff. And like that, he's the GOAT for a reason. He's always trying to perfect his craft. There's always somewhere left to go. Now, the better you get, the less competition you have, but then you're in a room with other elite people, and it takes just as much effort to get to that next level as it did maybe just to get going. I think for me, for example, like, yeah, I lost almost 100 pounds of weight when I first started training 20 years ago. That effort was just as hard as it is for me now. Like, I want every ounce of extra skin gone. It's the same effort.
No, I don't hate on it. And it makes sense because you're chasing better and better and better and better. At certain points, you're gonna need some little bit of intervention on your own. Like, you can't do everything yourself, and I think that's where like certain courses and things come in. Where I feel, oh, if it's a knowledge that you feel is useful, I don't think there's nothing wrong with spending the money on some of these things.
Oh, invest in
and
yourself.
People, I feel, are so miserly with themselves when it comes to courses and comes to learning things. Because I'm willing to spend $2,000 on a course to learn something that like it takes forever to learn, or they put it down in some way.
People like, oh, you're what is it? Like, oh, you're a snake oil salesman and you're trying to grift or whatever. It's like, I have 20 years of experience in this area and I can identify your blind spots immediately. And what took me 20 years to do, it'll take you less than a year. What is that worth to you? Like, for me, you didn't even see all the time and energy and other courses and instructors and dietitian, nutritionists, whatever area of my life it is. I'm using fitness, for example. You didn't see the investment I put in myself. I'm probably like millions of dollars into like my self-improvement, and you get fast-tracked via getting on a call with me. So what are you talking about? Now, I'll tell guys like, oh, it's kind of steep. I'm like, well, it depends on what you think you're worth. Like, for me, I have no problem giving $5,000 to a coach to get me to the next level because I think I'm worth it. Now, if for you that's not worth it, then I don't want to work with you anyways, because you have a low vision of yourself or low self-image. And I don't want that energy in my life. So yeah, the price point kind of flushes losers out of the market too.
Kind of quite easily, yeah. No, I guess improving on yourself and just investing in yourself, people are not used to it. They think it's not necessary. I think that's what it is. They don't think it's necessary. They think they're good as what they are. And they don't want to improve, get those skills up, or get once people are like above 90%, they don't care. They don't really put the throttle to get to that 99%. You know, they're like, oh, I'm already above everybody else. Yeah. You know, like,
no,
it's already nice up here.
We're all the same. It's like, no, the guy diligently working away in his basement trying to find the cancer cure, he's worth more than me. Like, let's just be honest. He's going to serve society more than I am. I teach guys how to learn Spanish, go abroad, get jacked, and get laid. But like, the guy's going to cure cancer. That guy's life's worth more than mine. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Speaking of coaching, I have a coaching client here in a few minutes. I'm gonna clear up some comments real quick. And Chow time, I love watching this guy. He's funny. Yeah, I'm having a good conversation. We didn't really touch on the dating topic, but you'll notice when I do my live streams, guys, I'm not doing like keyword optimization or anything, because I always plan a topic and then an hour goes by. It's like we didn't even touch it, but it's still a good conversation. Also love Jaren's videos. Yeah, very helpful. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Don't burn yourselves out. It happens. Yeah, I do take strategic breaks. These little rooftop events are usually ones for me. I build cheat days into the diet. So Chinese buffet or like Fogo de Chao is always a joke with my roommate and I. It's like, do it for Fogo. Dude, I got food poison last time I went there though, so it kind of ruined it for
Oh
me. But
no.
I'll be back soon, round two. And this is a good one. I've never been asked this question. Jeremy, how much do you invest on Looks Maxing annually? So I do TRT, HCG, HGH. I think monthly that usually ends up being less than $200. I do massages
Oh, it's not that bad.
regularly. The platement treatment. I don't do a lot of supplements anymore because once you optimize your hormones, like you don't really need to do the supplements. And I want to spare my kidneys and liver too with oral supplements. So let's say $300 or $400 a month times 12. I don't know, 3,600 to
Well,
4,800.
I mean,
Let's call it
I would
5,000 a
consider
year.
your haircuts and things like that
Oh
be
yeah,
part
yeah.
of the budget too. So like in your
I live in
facial.
Mexico though. Yeah, haircuts are $15 a pop. I
Oh,
do
is it?
two of
Oh
those a
man,
month.
I wish.
Oh, dude, they're so
I
cheap.
wish.
Yeah, hair and beard trim is like $15 a pop. So
Oh
that's
wow,
$30 a month. So
that'd be 60
uh,
bucks over here.
yeah, so I'll give conservative figure maybe 5,000 on the higher end. I definitely don't spend more than 10,000 a year on looks maxing or any of that stuff. But you have to think in terms of that. Like, okay, it helps my image. It helps me when I go out. People are more likely to talk to me. It creates a trust factor in the corporate world. So yeah, maybe it's 5,000-10,000 a year, but I can make that on a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm selling something or. I mean, again, I got off a call with a potential client earlier. If I close that deal, that's going to be $100,000 a year more in my pocket. So is it worth it? Yes. To invest in myself? Absolutely it is.
No, the other side of it is I do I do my facials. I wash my face with the highest end products I can find, and people wonder like, why do you spend so much? You don't have to buy this all the time. You know that, right? Like these face washes last like 3 months. Like it's $90, $95 for the face wash, but lasts us 3 months, so it's technically $30 a month.
It's also an insurance policy. How much will it cost you if you don't do these things? If I didn't lose 100 pounds of fat 20 years ago, I'd probably be dead right now. I would have started having. I know guys that I used to hang out with, and a good buddy of mine years ago. He's like, "Hey man, he's had like 2 heart attacks," and I got on a call with him at one point. He was drinking and way overweight, and I told him, I was like, "Dude, this is gonna be our last conversation because either you're gonna die if you don't change anything." Or if you manage to squeak it out a couple more years, like you don't have much runway left. You know, you're going down the wrong path. I don't want to be a part of your life anyways. Or if you want to start steering things straight, you can be exceptional and kind of hang out with people like me and you. And then, now we're having a different conversation. But he took a whole year, quit drinking, lost all the weight.
Nice.
Now his entire life's turned around. Business is going well. Relationships going well. He's really good at a passion hobby of his. He's like on the verge of going pro with that now. So completely different person in less than a year. So how much would it cost you not to invest in yourself? In my case, if I didn't lose the weight, I probably would have died before I was 30 because I was obese since I was a little kid. Your body can't handle that. It just cannot.
No, I'm a big fan. I tell every man, like, get your ass to the gym. Like, I've been slacking. I was slacking for the last 6 months. I just started getting back into the gym recently. And there's such a difference when you're going on a consistent basis. You feel different. You look different, and
your whole world changes.
It's such a different it's such a different vibe, I guess, is what women like to say.
You feel like an ass.
Different vibe.
You feel like an ass kicker. So things that used to unravel me before, it's like it still sucks. I'd rather not deal with it. But you just get it done and like, all right, on to the next thing. Like again, you're just baseline overall general well-being is at a much higher level.
No, mentally, to me, is one of the biggest problems. I think a lot of people, because so many people are overweight in the United States, and I think Mexico is too, right? There's a huge overweight issue in Mexico too, no?
Percentage-wise, but the degree of being overweight. There may be a couple pounds overweight. In the U.S., you get land mammals. It's insane. Last time I think I flew into Orlando like at the end of last year. There's a whole new level of fat people in the U.S. It's like cartoonishly obese. It's ridiculous.
I go to Disneyland all the time. That's one of my guilty pleasures is going to Disneyland.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand how these people live. Like, I don't understand.
They're barely living.
I don't. Yeah, it blows my mind that people have been so sediment in their life to where they're okay with this. They're okay with this lifestyle. They're okay with some of the way, like, it's not just that, like, people look at you weird. People look at you a different way.
with
And then I'm
disgust.
not trying to say like
And
the whole body shaming thing. It's just no, you're quite unattractive too, and people like looking at weird things, which is also kind of a horrible thing for humans to kind of like, oh, when something's
you're
like out of the norm, you're like,
you're
like,
intentionally putting yourself in a disease state. So when I see a fat
correct.
person, I don't see like, oh, there's a beautiful person inside. I
Yeah,
see someone who's slowly suiciding themselves.
yeah,
I see someone who has intentionally put themselves in a disease state. The same way if you look at like a tumor or whatever, like my heart goes out to you if you have cancer. That's terrible. I'd not wish it on anyone, but it's disgusting, you know. And that's kind of like the obesity thing. It's not attractive. Like you are killing yourself. Oh, I can still be a good person. No, you're not. If you actually loved yourself, you would not do that to yourself. Again, a lot of people lie to themselves. I like this comment. Vanity can be a lifesaver. And Red,
yeah.
I do have to wrap it up. I've got
Oh,
a
handle.
coaching client, but I definitely appreciate the conversation. I
Of
think we should
course.
definitely collab again. Guys in the audience, thanks for being patient. I've been bringing new guests on here. I know I'm deviating from the Passport Bros dating whatever topics, but I'm trying to expand my network too of creators because otherwise
You know,
I can't play the algorithm alone. Otherwise I'm just not going to grow.
that's what I'm very good at, is playing the algorithm. You know, like because I can
to,
just jump on topics that I know
I
are
need
going
to
to
pick
do
your brain
well.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's good.
Yeah. I'll hit you up outside of the stream. We can figure it out. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Thanks on stopping for by. I can't even do my standard takeaway, guys. If you want anything at all, coaching, whatever, group memberships, premium products, yada yada. Instagram at Jaron Scott. I won't do the full pitch. Be sure to hit up Red as well. We'll put all of his socials, YouTube channel links in the description here. And I want to thank you all for stopping on by. Until next time, I shall bid you all farewell. There we go. That's my sign off.
Later, guys.